Take 10. Am I ever going to get through this movie review? Well, I don't know, but that's the questions I had running through my mind while I watched Terrifier 3, which is what we're talking about today. I don't want to be super negative right off the bat, but it's hard not to. So I'm just going to break it down and say right now there's going to be some spoilers. So if you don't like spoilers, turn away, watch it, then come back. See if you agree with me. Started off, we go to the theater, and the crowd is mostly younger people who are very loudly before the movie starts talking about how a huge fan of the horror genre they are and how much they love horror. And you can always hear one or two people talk about how they're the biggest horror buffs on the planet. They know everything about horror, blah blah blah, and they love the Terrifier series. And I had a realization during this movie that 90% of the people that like Terrifier have probably never actually watched the movies, but really like the TikToks of Art the Clown. And I think that's a fair assessment. And I think this TikTok generation of people that were in my theater, I'm not saying everyone that likes it, but definitely most of the people in the audience in my theater were obnoxious and were not showing good manners in a theater, which has nothing to do with the movie, but it just shows that I think the crowd being drawn in is specifically because, well, I think that's the reason this movie was made. There's no other reason for this movie to be made. They killed Art in the second movie. They could have gone a different direction with the demonic presence inside of Victoria. They didn't have to bring it back with that whole thing. They could have gone a different direction. They didn't have to have Lauren Rivera back as Sienna Shaw or Elliot Fulham back as Jonathan Shaw, which they did, and they all did a great job. Everybody involved acting obviously had a lot of fun, so that's a big positive for the movie. The practical effects were awesome. Another big positive. They were disgusting. They were gross. Over the top at times, absolutely, for no reason. Too far, more often than not, and not entertainingly and not shockingly, but kind of like, okay, you didn't. That was unnecessary. There was no point. There's a storyline in between. There is storyline filler. There's filler. There's a lot of filler in this movie, of this pseudo Hallmark family movie they made in between. And this movie would have been better if it was a half hour shorter and they cut out a bunch of those scenes and just, in fact, the movie would have been better way shorter and just put all the gore together with no storyline and just had it be a gore fest and call it Art's Gore Fest 24. You know what I mean? That would have been way more sensible and it would have been way more enjoyable. But every time they switch those scenes, the movie becomes boring. Boring. It's not just a bad movie, it's a boring movie. And to say boring to something like this should have Damien Leone going, oh my God, my movie was boring. But it wasn't shocking. You did a great job with the practical effects. I love the special effects. I love the scenes. I love the passion you put into that part. You could have put some passion into the rest of the movie, dude. Into the storylines. The sets were fine until it came to that stupid family set. It was just, I don't know, man. They're filling up space. Here's what happened. And this goes back to that TikTok generation thing. They saw they're gaining a lot of popularity in merch sales and in sharing on social media of Art the Clown, and that's what they were selling. They weren't selling their series. They weren't selling anything that made sense. He said he wanted to make 4 movies. He could have made them different, the third one, and followed along the same. You could have still had Art the Clown. You could have just gone a different direction with this altogether, and the direction doesn't work. It works at the end when the plot kind of comes together. But beyond that, it takes so long to get there. More than once, I found myself saying, how much longer is this stupid freaking movie? The gore did not make up for it, man. It wasn't exciting enough. I will say again, the acting was great. Art the Clown, phenomenal character. Great character. Damien Leone, kudos on Art the Clown. Legendary character already. Phenomenal. Excellent work. Keep it up in some other way with Art. This was not the movie to do it with, man. You could have done it a different way. And I know it's easy to say that sitting where I'm at, but I'm the person paying to watch your movie, dude. And you're going to run out of the TikTok audience. I'll tell you, man, leaving that theater, no one was saying anything good about it. The mood went from a lot of excitement from a lot of people, including Katie Cat. She's a huge fan of actual fan of the series. Even she thought it was boring. She liked it, but it was boring to her. It was not, obviously she thought the second one was the best, and then that one, and the third one. I would go the opposite, or the first one. I would go the opposite. I would say that the second one is by far the best, then the first one, and the third one is somewhere after Ninth Circle or something. It's bad. The special effects, again, the gore, the over-the-top murders, funny. I get it. If you're really into that gore stuff, then great. I enjoyed some of it. I laughed. I laughed a few times this movie. It is pretty funny at times. I don't want you to think there's not positives to it. I would say see it, but don't see it in the theater. Don't spend the money on it. Wait till it comes out on a streaming service. There's no point this movie at all. There's no reason it should have been in theaters. It looks like something that they put on in theaters because they couldn't sign a network to do it or a streaming service to okay the gore. That's what it comes off as. It comes off as kind of a cash grab. You can tell they put money in the effects, for sure. And the actors absolutely earn their wages. You get a cameo from the great Tom Savini, man. That's a big deal. That was another thing I didn't get by this new crowd. Think of your audience, guys. They didn't know who the hell he was. The people that were talking about how big a horror movie the fans they were, they didn't know who the king of practical effects was. I saw his face and I lit up. I was like, Tom's here, yeah. It was a cameo, but it was so cool to see him. And I'm the only person in the theater that said anything or noticed it. You could tell because by this point, everyone else was just frozen in shock for the scene prior where he blows up a bunch of kids at a fucking mall with a present bomb. Yes, Art dresses like Santa. He goes to a Santa booth in the mall. He gives out presents and then gives out a package bomb and walks just far enough away so you can see a bunch of kids get blown up. It's a slasher movie. I didn't know this was a jihadist movie. When that tells you this is not about horror anymore, Damien. That's about just trying to get a reaction. And it's not a good reaction. Because this is not impressed that I'm having here. It's bummed that you might think that the shock got you what you wanted. I wasn't shocked by it, dude. I was just like, okay, well, he's running out of ideas. That's what it seemed like. That you ran out of ideas, bro. I'm sorry. Don't make a fourth movie. I know you say you want to wrap this up. Just leave it dead. You killed it with this movie. I don't foresee how you can make up for this movie. In complete sincerity. If you have to be so cheap that you resort to a present bomb at a mall with a bunch of kids, man, again, it's not shocking. It's just stupid. It's sad that that's the direction you went. And that's about the time where everyone stopped enjoying themselves. They were no longer shocked by anything. It took quite a while before anyone even chuckled again. I mean, aside from my sick ass, there was some funny shit that happened after that I definitely got a good chuckle out of. The chainsaw on the ass was phenomenally hilarious. It's been done, but it was funny. It was done well. But you have to ask yourself, dude, when is it just shock and you ran out of ideas on how to shock people? Like, you can only pull so many people's faces off and scalp so many people, I guess, right? I mean, you didn't even have the best face ripping scene. That belonged to Book of Blood. That had the best ripping someone's face off scene in a movie. I will say there's some clever kills. Art gets some liquid nitrogen and hooks it up like a fire extinguisher and kills people with that, and that's hilarious. It's hilarious. Daniel Roebuck plays Santa Claus, a guy dressed as Santa Claus anyway, sitting in a bar, and it was pretty obvious where it was going because he has a beard and he says you can't be Santa without a beard, so obviously Art has to freeze him and then rip his beard off his face and wear it, which was funny. Obvious what was going to happen with it, but it was cute. You know, I thought it was kind of funny and gory in that respect. There is some gore that I do like, guys. The big reveal scene with the present, super easy to see where that was going. So, I don't know, man. It was, yeah. What is it with this year in movies? My movie review. I need to watch a good movie to review because after the Joker and then this, and they both suffer from the same fate. One of the selling points Katie Cat tried to get me in to go see the movie, I was going to go anyway, but one was it outsold the Joker. 2, Folly of Deuce. Folly of Dew. The Folly of the Douche. And it wasn't hard to do that because that movie was terrible. If you were trying to beat that as a terrible movie, you didn't. You did beat him in the box office. Good, but that's like saying... I got Legos for Christmas. Really? Because I thought maybe you wanted to lose some digits on your hand in a wood chipper. That's kind of the trade-off, man. I know it's a weird analogy, but that's what that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with it. It was unfortunate. It's unfortunate to waste so much talent and such talented actors and such a budget on this. That's silly. That's just silly. I know it's for money. It's obviously why you're doing it at this point. It's the passions. Your special effects team's passion is high. Your acting crew is high. Their passion is great. Your passion is your pocketbook, and so I guess that's where it's going to go, Damien. That's my only guess. I don't know that for sure. If I'm wrong, tell me. I would love to sit and interview you, dude, if this ever gets around to you. But just know, as a lifelong horror fan, and someone who really admired where you were coming from, like I vaguely remember a YouTube short called Terrifier that I watched a few times. And I watched the Ninth Circle when art was. There was a throwback, by the way. I do appreciate it. I noticed the Ninth Circle throwback on the bus. That was cute. I like what you did there, folks. I would say go see it, but wait till it's on a streaming service. Don't give this man any more money until he addresses why he did this. It just doesn't make sense. Big hats off though to David Howard Thornton. That guy is one of the best physical actors, and if you're going to see it, go for Art the Clown. That's the only reason anyone went to see it, was to watch Art the Clown, and the guy deserves all the props you can give him. He's a phenomenal actor, and yeah, like I said, everybody did a great job acting wise. It's just, I don't know what happened, dude. You weren't that shocking, and you made a really boring movie, and that's sad. The boring part is the sad part. So anyway, guys, if you disagree with me, or if you've seen the movie and you agree, let me know in the comments, and let me know what I should watch next, because I got to do a good movie. I got to review a good movie, guys. Give me your list of movies and I'll go over them. I got a few days before Halloween, and then it's time for the Christmas movies. All right, well, I'm gonna go try to wash my soul clean in the rivers of waters of Lake Minnetonka. The rivers of Lake. That's not a fucking place. Anyway, all right, move out. It's unfortunate.